I hope you find this Meet the Teacher presentation helpful, and it will tell you a little bit about life in reception for your children. If not, as always, please don't hesitate to speak to a member of our reception team who will introduce a little bit later on. And here are Class RC. You should recognise at least one of these lovely smiling faces. I know that Mrs Campbell and Mrs Guzmano are really proud about how the children have settled in. They've taken to their routines and are just wowing us with their learning. Well done, Class RC. In Class RC, your child's class teacher is Mrs Campbell, and she is also the first team leader for early years as well. Mrs Guzmano is the key worker within RC, and she'll be working alongside Mrs Campbell to work with your children. Mrs Bootland spends a lot of time in reception as well. Some of you might recognise her as she spent some time in nursery, so she works across early years and she joins us in reception sometimes too. I am Mrs Byrne and I am the RB class teacher, along with Mrs Galton, who is an HLTA and is the key worker in RB. Well, I've been so busy exploring both inside and outside the classroom. I know we've got budding mathematicians, we've had people that enjoy building and spending time outside in our new outdoor area as well. The bikes have been very popular, as have our new Hobbit Hall. So they've been having lots of fun exploring and playing and learning. So these are our new rules for behaviour across school. We've talked to the children in RB about what each one means. So for ready, we expect all our children to be ready to learn, and we talked about how good sitting, good looking and listening help us to do this. For respect, we know to respect everyone, so we share, listen to people, which also links to that final word, kind. The children have been great at telling us what kindness is, and we've seen some very kind children in reception. Within school, we have been celebrating good behaviours, and in class we've got a recognition board where children can put their sunshine face when they've shown their best behaviours. The children have really enjoyed this and encourage each other to make sure that they all end up on our recognition board. This all links to our new behaviour policy, and this is in its final stages and will be shared with you all very soon. Part of our new policy is for children to be proud and confident, so we are encouraging a wonderful walking around school and within the classroom. The children are encouraged to walk with their heads up, their arms by their sides, sharing a smile if they pass anyone. Hot chocolate with the head is something that will start a little bit later in the year for reception, once they've settled in fully. But when it does come round, once a week Mr Sutherland will be joined by children who have wowed us. So we will share them with Mr Sutherland so they can go and enjoy a hot chocolate with him, hopefully with squishy cream and marshmallows too. So we still do have a few measures in place for COVID-19, one of them of which is our soft start, which is between 8:45 and 8:55. The gates do close promptly at 8:55, so please try and ensure your child is in school by then. Our finish time is 3:05. We wash our hands when the children enter school, so the children are getting really good at coming in and knowing to wash their hands ready to start their school day. Where possible, parents and staff are socially distancing, please try and adhere to that where possible. Our classroom windows are open, and as the weather is getting a little bit chillier, if you could please ensure your child has a jumper or cardigan within school to keep them warm. Thank you. We fully appreciate your help and support, as when we work together we create the best for your child. Attendance is crucial to a child's learning development, but also it helps them to feel safe and secure at school. We expect an attendance of around 97% for a child, and it will be monitored closely if your child does dip below that. Along with punctuality as well, it may seem just like a few minutes late for you, but for your child that may mean that they don't get to say good morning to their friends, or they might miss some instructions to a job, so it can make them a little bit out of sync for the rest of the day. Our door is always open, in the sense that we're always happy to answer any questions or queries you have. We want the best for your child, as we know you do too. Supporting your child at home can be done in a variety of ways. Reading, which I'll go into more detail later, is really important, as is helping them to be independent, such as helping them put their coat on themselves, tying their shoes or putting them on, going to the toilet independently, and using a knife and fork as well. Many of our children struggle in the hall, and it would be great if they got a little bit more confident with that. Chatting to them about their day, if they want to tell you, is fab too. In terms of uniform, on a normal school day, a blue jumper or cardigan, white t-shirt with a collar, grey or black trousers, skirt or pinafore, black shoes or trainers with no colour on at all, please, no white sole, just completely black, please. When your children will start PE, which I'll talk about a little bit later, it is expected that they would wear a white t-shirt, black shorts or bottoms, and trainers or plimsolls. They don't have to be completely black. So Tiny Tracker is an easy to use online learning journal for nurseries, preschools and reception classes. So this is what we are using to record your child's learning. It enables us to observe and monitor how your child is progressing throughout the early years and foundation stage and capture lots of special moments along the way. So we hope for our parents to access Tiny Tracker in the autumn term to see how your children are progressing, and I'm sure you will love to see all of the wonderful things that they have been up to. More information on this will follow. In terms of communication, we have our digital newsletter, which comes out twice each half term. That is emailed to you, so please just check that the email address you'll have is your most recent one. We have our school website as well, which has got lots of information on it and also has subject pages which show what your children have been up to in different subject areas. Our social media account is Facebook, and that gets regularly updated with the new photographs with things that have been happening within school, and we have different events being posted on there too. Our School Gateway app is a way for you to pay for things within school, as we're now in a moneyless system. If you're unsure of how to access this, please do get in touch with the school office and they'll be able to help you out with that. Parent consultations, obviously the way that we speak to you about your child's progress and how they are getting on in school. They will happen in the autumn term and in the spring term too, and more information will follow for those dates. Obviously, if there's any concerns that you have before then or between those consultations, then please do not hesitate to speak to me. Tiny Tracker will also be another way that we communicate with you through photographs and messages, but more information will come with that when we are ready to launch it soon. So the EYFS curriculum is made up of 7 areas of learning. These are 3 prime areas, which are communication and language, physical development and personal, social and emotional development, and 4 specific areas, which are literacy, maths, understanding the world and expressive arts and design. So we have chosen, along with lots of Gateshead schools, to follow the new framework, which is Birth to 5 Matters. This helps us to ensure that what we are teaching your child is appropriate to them and their needs, and also helps us to assess their progress too. We teach in many different ways. Some of it is small group time, where there might be groups as small as 2, 3, up to half of the class, which would be 14 or 15. And we would teach in that way. We might have one-to-one time with your child, where we just work with your child independently to learn different things with them then. And we've got story time too, which is a fab way to enjoy books, and we teach lots of our areas through this, non-fiction and fiction books and stories too. And lots of our curriculum is also covered through play. This is a huge part of our reception curriculum, to allow the children to experience things in their own way and learn and interact with adults and their peers, and learn lots of different areas of their learning too. Maths is everywhere, and in early years that is certainly the case. The children access it in so many different ways. Outside, playing games, counting. Inside, it's part of our routine. We count the number of children each day that are in school. We count the number of snacks. We use a calendar, so it's just accessed in a lot of different ways that the children just access continuously through our provision. We also follow a number blocks, so the children love number blocks, and as do I. And it's a great way and a fun way for children to watch and then have questions, and you then see them using it in their provision because they're just so interested in it. So that's something you can watch along at home as well. We focus on just the first 5 numbers to start with, and really go in depth into those so the children have a really solid understanding of those first numbers. We do follow the White Rose Maths as well, which is a mastery approach, and it's all about going deeper, not faster. So making sure that the maths that they are learning is really embedded and they have a really good knowledge and understanding before just moving on to higher numbers, that they can really understand the maths that they are learning. We do lots of our maths also through song and rhyme, which is really good fun and is always a nice part of our day. So I'm sure you know lots of songs as well with numbers in that you could sing along at home, and maybe even the children might come home with some to share with you. So as mentioned earlier, reading at home is one of the best things that you can do with your child. They will be sent home with 2 reading books each week, and within their reading diary there's a little sticker that will say which day their reading books will get changed on, and they'll be sent home at the moment with a storybook that you can enjoy with them. That'll be something that you read with your child, so they wouldn't be expected to read that. It would be that you could share it and they could maybe tell you a little bit about the story. They'll also come home at the moment with a wordless book, which hopefully they can begin to tell a story from. It's a really good way to infer information and to look at the pictures, and the children start to understand the structure of a story and the fact that there's a beginning, a middle and an end, and they're able to enhance their own storytelling skills. The children will come home with 2 books and a reading diary as well, and that's a really good way for us to speak backwards and forwards to one another. We'd expect at least 1 comment in a week of what your child has read at home, and we in place will write a comment back about how they got on with their reading at school. Your child will read with an adult at least once a week within school. As mentioned earlier, we do follow Read Write Ink, and as time progresses, the wordless book that your child is currently bringing home will be replaced with a Read Write Ink book. So to start with, this might be simple CVC words like b, e, d, and they will be able to read it as bear, dog, cat, and then that might, as the year goes on, to become more of a little story which uses the sounds that they have learned. So here is a little bit about our nurture and inclusion provision. To start, if I introduce Miss Stewart, who's our school SENCO and inclusion manager, and Mrs Cox is our family support worker, and they carry out most of their interventions and nurture groups in the den. So the den is the Dunstan Den. It's our happy place, somewhere we go to chat to friends and adults, play a game, share an activity, or just sit quietly and think. It's a place that's small enough to feel safe and big enough to use our imagination. It helps us feel calm, confident, positive and absolutely awesome. And this is a fabulous nurture setting complete with a range of spaces for the children to explore and enjoy. So the reception children are chosen a few each week to go and enjoy some time in the den at lunchtime, and this will happen so that each child gets to experience that wonderful setting. Also, along with Miss Stewart and Miss Cox, we have Miss Board and Mrs Hewitt, who also help with our nurture inclusion provision, and they will support children that we feel need that additional support. Miss Stewart works with myself and supports us to ensure that any children that need additional support with their learning do get that, and that the correct support is implemented, monitored and reviewed. She delivers some of this support herself, or she supports us in delivering it. She ensures the appropriate contact and referrals are made with external agencies such as speech and language, counselling or behaviour support. Mrs Cox works with families and children to provide emotional and practical support and advice to families who may be experiencing long or short-term difficulties. Sometimes she offers this in the form of informal chats or meetings or phone calls. Family Forest School is also a way, and family learning and workshops is a way that she might make contact with parents. Along with the Dunstan Den, we also have the Dunstan Retreat, which is a much more calm room. It's our sensory room, a place to support some children with sensory needs, and also a place that's used at times when we feel the child would benefit from some calm time. And here are some lovely photos of the previously mentioned Dunstan Den and also the Dunstan Retreat. The children really enjoy these spaces, and we're so lucky as a school to have them. We love Forest School at Dunstan Hill. It provides hands-on learning experiences for our children and just gets them a break from the indoors. We have great teamwork opportunities being built, and it's fab to see the children working together. It certainly builds confidence as well. The children are allowed to just explore and just have a connection with nature, and it's also an amazing way to improve gross motor skills as the children are able to climb, explore all around in our wonderful environment. Forest School will be happening for reception, and more information will follow on this. We just like the children to settle in a little bit first before we start PE and Forest School and things, but we will let you know when they need to be coming in their Forest School kit along with their PE kit too. So just a few last little things to remember. PE, as just previously mentioned, will be starting after Christmas, and more information will follow on that. I did mention the uniforms as the uniforms for that as well, so hopefully you understand what your child needs for that. Reading day is once a week, so as it mentioned, there's a sticker in the book to tell them which day to bring that in, and their books will be changed. If your child does miss that day, I will try and get it done as soon as possible, but it might not be the day straight after because sometimes it's a little bit of a backlog, but I will ensure that they get it changed at least once a week. If they could please have a water bottle in each day, and if that could be labelled, that'd be wonderful. It's amazing how many children have the same water bottle. I can't quite remember what theirs looks like. If we could have names also in bags. We have lots of fun outside, and it can sometimes be a little bit wet and a little bit muddy, and sometimes it's nice to just get changed into some more comfortable clothes. So if we could have a change of uniform in a bag, that would be great. If they could also be named, and we've already got a little collection of cardigans and jumpers that we don't know who they belong to, and it's such a shame because I know they will be newly purchased. So if you could please make sure that names are in all clothes, that would be great. For bags, we simply ask for a book bag that will fit in their tray. Anything else, it's just really difficult to store because our pegs in our cloakroom don't have lots of room. So as soon as a child brings a bag that's bigger than their tray and it won't fit in their tray, it just causes a problem, as other children can't then see where their peg is, or things hang down, and it just causes a little bit of a problem. So book bags only, please. I know lots of children have already brought these in, but if we could just make sure that your child has a pair of wellies in school, I think especially as the weather starts to turn a little bit, it's great to have the opportunity to go outside and have a good old splash about. And also a polite request as well. I know, again, we've had some very generous people as well, but we do request a little fund, which is 50p a week or £3 termly, and this just helps us to go with the child's interests a little bit. So if children are particularly interested in something, we can get that. Buy a few new things, we might do some cooking, Play-Doh, so it's just a really nice way to be able to buy a few little extra things that the children will be really enthusiastic about. We certainly do love to play in reception, and as I've already mentioned, our bikes outside have been a huge hit with the children. They've been using road signs to stop and start and let people across. Our hobbit hole also has been great for tunnelling through, but also for jumping off and rolling down. And we've got a lovely new water area as well that the children have thoroughly enjoyed, finding ways to let the water travel down. Inside the classroom too, we've got lots of lovely things for the children to get up to. More recently we've been making owls, and the children have been enjoying creating them using lots of feathers and gluing and cutting. And last but not least, I just want to say thank you. I know it's been a long presentation there, and I hope that it was helpful for you. Once again, please don't hesitate to come and contact us if you've got any questions at all, and I really look forward to getting to know you and your children a little bit more this year. Thanks again. Bye bye.